Well, subsidy removal issue is still trailing. As far as our nation is concerned, this issue will not just slide like that. The federal government recently has announced that 5 billion naira palliative will be given to the 36 states of the nation, including the FCT, to cushion the effect of the removal of petrol subsidy. It also set up an ad hoc committee to engage with some of the stakeholders to ensure that nobody will be left out. But there are so many concerns as far as this issue is concerned. People are asking, how will this 5 billion naira, including the rice that will be distributed? The 5 billion naira, is it for food? The 5 billion naira, is it to support each state? The 5 billion naira, is it to make sure households get out of the poverty index that some persons are actually pushed into? I have some guests with me in the studio here. Together we'll be extracting this discussion. Abuja Network Center will be joining the conversation. Fares Okbere is a public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming, Fares.
Thank you for having me.
And sitting very close to him is Comrade Harrison Ezeko. He's a public affairs analyst. Thank you, Comrade Harrison.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Comrade Harrison, let's take it from there. 5 billion naira to each state, including FCT. How are we going to do the mathematics?
Well, first of all, I want to appreciate the federal government for changing their first arrangement of distributing money to the state and local government from the center, which they are not close to. With this present arrangement, 5 billion to states, and I have a reservation concerning Abuja. You cannot be comparing Abuja to every other state because of the population number of persons that are there. So you cannot be doing the same mathematics for everybody. And number two, the major issue is that the way and manner this money is going to be spent have not been actually explained for the federal government who is bringing the money. Whether it's going to be a percentage to household, whether they're going to use part of it to get palliative, whether they are going to get buses, they've not explained those areas. But I think it's a welcome development. But the reason being that the states are closer. The state was also transferred to the local government, so that the local government who are closer to these people will not do the distribution. If it's going to be by cash, if it's going to be by palliative or any other.
If you are saying the state is closer to the local government, there are states that don't even have established local government.
When you say local government, it's not compulsory, must be shared by the politicians. Okay. Like I speak, like in those states as we speak right now, before the end of the month, there's going to be distribution of palliative. It's being handled by civil servants. Okay. My friend is in charge of Ikubaka. They've done their divination, they've done all their informations. They are already mapping.
For the same money?
No. For the state,
okay,
they will start distribution by the end of the month. Okay. They have this information. It's the workers. The politicians always supervise. The role of the politicians is to supervise and work with maybe if they have elected councillors who also know the area, just to show them these are the areas.
So politicians basically do supervisory role.
They supervise like the last one during the COVID, the distribution of palliative in my ward. I was in charge. Then I was in the council. And my duty was to make sure I lead the team, show them the villages and where they are going. It was the local government that came up with the data. They went on their own. Those information is with them.
Okay, so during COVID,
yes, we did.
Your axis wasn't part of those that was hidden from the people.
No. Those states distributed a palliative. I led what too. Okay. I was in charge. I was in the in-laws and were moving them.
We'll come back to you, Harrison. Yes. And now, Fares, let's look at this money. To be honest, do you think it will get to the recipients?
No, I completely disagree with the federal government. And if this is what the whole subsidy removal was about. Then they should have just left the subsidy, because what the subsidy removal has brought is almost double-digit inflation, increase in transportation, increase in food prices, increase in almost everything. The basic necessities have all increased. Nigerians are struggling today. So if at the end of the day you say you want to be saving 400 billion naira every month, and you cannot use that money to improve agriculture, to improve investment in education, to improve investment in roads, on the basic infrastructure in the country, then there was no need removing the subsidy in the first place, because at the end of the day, what you are not doing is you are still systematically taking this money again and still subsidizing it into the system.
Indirectly?
Yes, indirectly, without investing it. What Nigeria needs is investment. the federal government has to kickstart an investment process for the private sector to grow. Put this money into roads. As we speak right now, I had a wedding I was supposed to attend in Warri on Saturday. I couldn't go because the Olubuasi is completely cut off. You want to go to Ekuma? Cut off. You want to go to Ondo? Cut off. You want to go to Lagos? The bridge is cut off.
Due to the poor road.
Due to the poor infrastructure in the country. This is just only in Edo State. And you have it everywhere. It's widespread. In Lagos, in the north, everywhere. So if the government was going to invest this subsidy money, you should have put it in infrastructure. We have a deficit of over $100 billion of infrastructure in the country. And if you are saving 400 billion every month, put this money into infrastructure. We can't be buying food. A bag of rice now is almost going to 50-something thousand naira. Salaries, salaries have not been increased. Schools, education, you haven't subsidized school fees for many families. As we speak, next month, September is school fees time. So many families are already struggling. Then we are putting this money, giving it to politicians, giving it to state governors. Many of them, they will not account for it to you. Okay. You have no way to monitor that this money will be judiciously used for the people. Okay. So why don't you just take this money, put it into somewhere that Nigerians can see? If you are telling me that, oh, the Benin Auchi Road, I want to fund it in the next 3 years. Let me put 100 billion naira, or let me put 50 billion naira every month for 3 months. And give it to the companies. What the companies will in turn do is employ more workers, purchase more equipment, and you can travel at ease from Benin to Abuja easily.
And that will create employment.
Yes, and you don't have to spend 22,000 naira on a big Joe, or the price of the transport will come down automatically if the roads are good.
Okay, let's come now back to you, Harrison. It's like you have a different view.
Very, very. Yeah.
So let's get your feel.
Well, I think we should understand the concept of this money that is coming, this subsidy removal. It's not a new thing. During Jonathan, we have Shopee, subsidy investor program. You see, palliative is a temporary thing. It's not something that's going to be sustained. The reason why I believe that the federal government is coming with this is to enumerate the suffering of the people for the time being. You understand? So it's not something that is going to be sustained. For example, you pull out this money, you want to put it in road or infrastructure. We are still, you have not met the needs of the poorest of the poor. This thing is not meant for everybody. It's meant for those who at this particular time are the worst hit.
So the 5 billion
it's not going to be shared for my own thinking. It's not going to be shared for all Nigerians. Is meant for the poorest of the poor.
So who are the poorest of the poor?
Yes, the data are they see most time we talk from outside. As I sit down here now, I've been to the local government. They had the database. Even the state government did one about 3 years ago. It was not fully captured. But what the plan they have now for this are distributed that those who were not captured in that register, if they come out now, they will take their information.
Are you sure this database is accurate?
I'm coming, sir.
Is it accurate?
At least 65% accurate. Now, what they said is this: those who have not been captured, they will get their information and include them on that register. Okay. When we did the COVID distribution, we use the same database. We use the same information. You move to the location and you can see. And most times, the reason why we were there was to identify these persons and actually declare that this person is among the poorest of the poor. Okay. So what the summary is that is a temporary thing. If you move it to infrastructure, you are going to meet the needs of the poorest of the poor. That is the basic truth. And for example, this same road, federal government will be bringing billions of naira. Every budget here. Where is this? What is the situation of the road? Okay. So what make you feel this time around again? If this money is being put as a lump sum, push to this different area again, how are we going to get result? So let the common man feel the impact of government. Before today, federal government, they're letting the subsidize is fuel.
With the release of 5 billion,
yes.
Will it be sustained?
Like I told you, palliative is a temporary thing. Okay. It's a temporary thing. What they are trying to do, let them push in this thing before they can get permanent solution to the problem of fuel. And the permanent solution is to fix a refinery, which the federal government, they are not ready yet. Because you cannot be saying you want to do palliative, the problem, the source of the problem, you have not addressed it. Okay. So for me, I think it's a welcome development. Let us give it a try and see how far we can go.
Let's quickly take a short break now. We'll return back and expand the front line of this discussion. Do stay with us.
TMI, every opinion counts.
Well, federal government 5 billion naira palliative distribution to state matters arising as the federal government has recently said that they will be giving out 5 billion to each state to cushion the effect of the removal of petrol subsidy. It also set up an ad hoc committee to engage with the leadership of labor unions. And these are some of the decisions reached at the meeting of the National Economic Council, NEC, chaired by the Vice President Kashim Shettima at the State House, Abuja. A statement by the Office of the Vice President after the meeting said the members of the committee comprise the Nigerian Governors Forum, NGF, the Chairman Governor Forum, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak of Kwara State, and Governor of Anambra State, Chukuma Soludo, then Chairman of Progressive Governors Forum, Hope Zodima of Imo State, PDP Governors Forum Chairman, Bola Mohammed of Bauchi, the Bala Mohammed of Bauchi, I beg your pardon, and Abia State Governor Alex Oti. Now, the council also received progress report on the ongoing nationwide distribution of rice, grains, fertilizer, and other items to state, and 5 billion financial support provided by the federal government, and commended the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, at the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, for their interventions. This is our focus this morning. While we went on that break, we had Colin Samadi join us on the program. He's a politician. Thank you so much for coming, Colin Samadi.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, now, still matter arising. Let's come to Fares quickly. I would like to break this down. As at May 2023, to fill your tank is about 15,000 naira. Fast track to June, same year, just few month interval, you need to fill your tank with about 35,000 naira. Now, as at July, I think you need approximately 55K.
Yes.
Some persons are saying this palliative is another scam by those in authority to milk the nation of our Commonwealth. Is that correct?
Yes. The people who are having that opinion, they might be very correct, because we've seen over and over again, even with the COVID palliative then, we saw in so many states where there were warehouses full of items that were supposed to be distributed to people, which were not distributed to the people. At the end of the day, those items were later used for political campaigns and so many other things that they were not meant for. People were now they would not take those rice and rebag them in different bags and use it for their personal gains. For personal gains. We've seen it over and over again in this country. That is why I keep saying that, you see, the issue of subsidy, not that subsidy was a bad idea. It wasn't really all a bad idea. The problem was that the federal government failed miserably to control the subsidy. For example, if you notice, you see that Nigeria was subsidizing petrol for so many countries. The Benin Republic, Niger, Cameroon, and probably Chad and other countries, because we had a very porous border. You can't drive a truck load of petrol. You come into Nigeria, buy the petrol at 167, go to Cameroon and sell it at 500. And the government folded their hands, was unable to control the volume and the borders to make sure that the petrol in Nigeria was not moving to other countries.
Okay.
That was number one. Number two, the federal government also said that there was so much corruption around the subsidy issues, and the government was lame in dealing with that corruption, because the people who were involved in the corruption in subsidy, they were people who were highly connected to the government, highly connected in the country. They have the resources to kill any kind of investigation and all of that. And for that reason, nothing was done about it.
Okay.
Now we have taken this problem away in terms of subsidy and put it in what we call it palliatives. Something that you cannot even control. We don't even know who this rice will get to. When we talk about the poorest of the poor, we have over 100 million Nigerians that are poor people. Nigeria has one of the highest number of poorest people in the world. So you are talking about poorest of the poor. Are you saying that the government have data of over 100 million people that are poorest of the poor?
Okay.
Nigerians are Nigerians are poor right now. The middle class have been eroded. There's no middle class anymore. If I used to have the rich, the middle class, and the poor, now you have just the super rich, those in government, those who are feeding fat from the system, and those who are miserably poor. That's what you have in Nigeria today. Everybody's struggling. Okay. There's no middle class anymore. Okay.
Now, this conversation is an expanded one because we have our Abuja Network studio where some of our guests are already seated there. Barrister Ahmed Abubakar is already waiting there. We'll be joining them in a jiffy, but quickly, Harrison, should we go back to status quo? Should we return back to subsidize our petrol? Quickly, before we get to...
Well, I think governments have to be sincere. For me, why it's difficult for this present administration is that 10 years back, these were the same set of persons who said that subsidies is cant. Okay. There was nothing like subsidy. So it's difficult for them now to actually come out with a roadmap. What I'm interested in the poorest of the poor is that for the fact that Nigeria have gotten to this level, let these common people feel the impact of government. Okay. We cannot gather this money back again and put it in infrastructure to the same group of persons who will also waste this money and nothing will come out from it. So let us see how we give them some little opportunity. Let's see how the state will actually make use of this 5 billion that is coming. Another thing is that this 5 billion, is it going to be monthly? It's going to be a one-off thing. 5 billion. This 5 billion. It's going to be monthly. It's going to be one-off thing, which we don't understand. Okay. If it's going to be a one-off thing, I think that is not. It cannot even go anywhere. So let's give them the opportunity.
This administration actually told Nigerians that they were going to hit the ground running, and on May 29th, subsidy gone. And in fact, before the end of that statement, so many petrol stations across the country skyrocketed the price. Do you think it's a wise decision at the beginning of the administration?
You know, the problem we have with this country sometimes is that we don't want to hear the truth. And that is why we have remained where we are.
So tell us the truth.
Good. People will keep painting what is not for Nigerians to see. Someone came in and told you, fuel subsidy had been removed within this time to this time. So, but for me, I will not come and encourage it. It will not stay. Because so many persons have been feeding on it just in the name of subsidy. You subsidize to 1 million litre, you turn it to 50 million litres. And by so doing, you cannot just wake up and start revoking and start bringing in new persons to say, oh, let me bring another new format of subsidizing. But the best thing to do is what had been done. But the only problem we have, because of the inanimate system we have operated over the years, people take advantage of every little to handle another. At our own little opportunities, we take advantage of it to press on another. And that is the problem we have now. Now, they told you from June, there will be no more subsidy. But before, up in June, it has since been subsidized. We'll expect that it's a common sense, even to the marketers and the distributors, to understand that this thing is still within their peri gains. Okay. But they decided to do otherwise. And state government were asked, or agencies concerned, to go around and try to stop these people. Even as ordinary citizens, we can stop them. But at every point, we wait for government to run everything. Okay. In a country or in a system where the people want to take responsibility and help themselves to grow, okay, we can then enforce on these people that not until June, or you will not sell. They will be coerced, even if those agencies that are supposed to legitimize them fails. And they will be meant to do the right thing. But however, here we are. Now it's time for palliative. Because Nigerians have been crying. I have also been crying. But I believe that there is no pain, no gain. But since the outpour has become that of blackmail by opposition party.
What do you mean by blackmail?
Good, now here I come.
You have to explain it.
Yes, now I come.
Blackmail in what aspect?
Now here I come.
It's glaring.
I am here glaring. I am here, I want to tell you. Now where the blackmail comes in, where there are issues of a national coloration just as it is now, all hands ought to be on deck to help map out the better way for us. But instead, opposition took advantage of it and begin to make more out of nothing.
Can we stop the blame game in our political system? Can we stop the blame game?
You asked a question, yes. You will allow me land.
Okay, quickly land, because we need to get to Abuja now.
I just came to. I'm just trying to tell you a simple fact that is holding back this country. If opposition leaders who are saying all agree that there was no need for subsidy, as it were, that people were using it to siphon. That is why we can't have modern infrastructure. That is why we can't even rehabilitate the ones that were given to us by the ancient masters. So let us try and save money so we can build good infrastructure so that agriculture can grow, can live rural area to urban area, so that there can be inter-economic relations.
I'll get back to you, but I wonder how you'll be defending some certain things. We'll get back to you because you have to respond. Your government, our government, the president in charge, when he was in the opposition, he actually said this same subsidy was a scam. We still have Comrade Colin Samadi, Comrade Harrison, and Fares with us. Now, Amadi, you want to quickly wrap up with the truth you were telling us?
Yes, what I was trying to say.
So wrap up with the truth.
Yes, election have come and gone. Those are leaders. All those ideas that were all in their manifestos. It is time to bring the national issue first. And let us stop drawing up unnecessary sentiment. Yes, with the new policies, things, there are some lot of loopholes that seems to be covered. And some of these our leaders too are in charge of those loopholes from which they have been sucking. So you should not expect them to be happy. They will also on their own mobilize some citizens to react. But outside their mobilization, generally we are all having some effects of subsidy removal. Now that outpour led to a team that was being set up to liaise and look into a possible immediate way of bringing down this pressure of hunger and want by the people. And some of our governors whom we have since entrusted came up with the other committees and said let them go into this second phase of palliative, because we have had first phase of palliative. This is second phase. Nigeria is really having, or even hearing the word palliative as it were, that has to almost cover a larger part of Nigerians. But however, because of the first palliative that came as a result of the COVID, there were a lot of distrust, there were a lot of uncertainty, but there will always be people to lead us. For the fact that there was uncertainty yesterday shouldn't mean we'll continue to leverage on that. It's to now bring more ideas and make sure those who will be assigned do better. Now, you know, when federal government want to give assistance, because they have this relationship with all these governors, they have a way of believing that they are closer. But unfortunately, when they get to the governors will not get to the local government schools and also say you are more closer. But they just end it at their own table and want to do everything all themselves. And that is where the problem has been coming from over the time. And now let me tell you, in many states where there are no local government, for example, probably there are still people administering there. So I think the new phase that should be encouraged by civil society or those to whom it may concern is to encourage the governors to centralize and delegate in a way. Yes, at the center, let some of your people join, but delegate to the local team, even up to traditional rulers, as it were, in different communities. Let's have data of how many communities we have in Edo State, how many possible persons are there. Then local government chairman or local government administrator to relate with traditional rulers and have a feast possible where they can distribute these things. And we will not have problem. Let's come
to Fares. I'll get back to you. Now, if you look at it at the national level, Fares, you see that they draw up the committee from different political parties. At the state level, are you sure our state governors won't make it a party affair?
Well, like I told you before, the whole arrangement is a sham.
You seem not to be in
whether at the federal level, at the state
arrangement.
level, at the local level. These things we've seen it before. On that Babangida's time, we saw the structural adjustment program, which ended up becoming a complete sham. We saw it under the Buhari administration, the same people who pointed fingers that subsidy was a scam. When Jonathan tried to remove subsidy in 2012, We saw the protests, massive protests in Lagos and everywhere against subsidy removal. All of them who were in government today were pointing fingers that subsidy was a scam. The Jonathan should leave a subsidy alone for them, that they wanted it. Even before it was at 60-something naira at that time, wanted to take it to about 1 something then, you know. And then you have this system where we have no proper data. You can't talk about that we have poorest of the poor. These things, we know how they play out. You give it, you say you are bringing rice to the states. We know where it will end up. Where will it end? We know where it will end up. Where will it end? It ends up in places where the poorest of the poor cannot even access. Okay. They can't even access it. So what should this kind of funds do for Nigerians? Put this money into investment in agriculture. Let people have jobs. We are still using cutlass and hoe to farm in 2023. And farming has gone beyond that. And farming has gone way beyond that. Way beyond that. Subsidize machines. Let people who have big farms, let them have access to government subsidized machines to go and, even if they are not buying it, even if they are not using, even if they are not buying it, let them be there at the Ministry of Agric. They can just have access to it. You go. If I say I want to farm 100 acres of land, for example, all the government needs to do is come help me prepare that land. That's one of the most expensive part of it. It's land preparation. So government takes its machine, prepare the land for me, I do my farming. So people will see what you are using the money to do. At the end of the day, provide roads to the interiors where people have farms so that they can easily transport their goods out. Those are the things that affect the poorest of the poor. Giving them 8,000 naira a month or bringing a bag of rice for them will not solve the problem, because at the end of the day, you are not even teaching them how to and you cannot lead people out of poverty by giving them bag of rice. No country, let me repeat it, no country in the world, look at Malaysia that had so many poor people, today is one of the richest countries in the world. What did they do? It's agriculture. They invested in agriculture. Look at China also. They invested in agriculture, invested in technology. Look at Japan. After the war, after the Second World War, they went back, invested in technology, invested in agriculture, and they lived out of poverty.
If Fares is hammering on agriculture, insecurity is something that is still hitting us very, very hard. Harrison, you're going to help us out there. Do you think we should put some of this fund into tackling insecurity so that we can have a safer farm for farmers to go and we'll end up having good produce?
Well, like I said, I think we should get the concept of this plan. And like I said, palliative is to quickly cushion the effect of this subsidy removal. People are finding it difficult to eat right now. Some people cannot even buy 2 cups of rice to cook in their houses. So what I think the federal government is trying to do, domesticating this fund down to the state, is to quickly reach out to these people, which we call the poorest of the poor, so that for the time being, let us cushion the effect. Then their plans will begin to follow. We cannot now say at this point how much is even the money that will not pack all this money and push back to road again, put back to agriculture, which in another 1 year or 2 years we will not be getting dividend. So let us understand where the direction. Like I said before, I said it's difficult for them now to actually pass the message, because why? They have criticized this whole thing long ago, but that was almost should be lamenting in the past. For me, let the fund come and let the indices, the way and manner this fund going to be spent, should be explained. And let the state government also translate down to the local government. Like I told you before now, Edo State, we have a database. As an NGO person, I work in most of the villages in Oedo and some areas in the Yokoriomo. I still have the information that we work with. It's not that these things are not there. If you go to a community now, for example, you want to distribute palliative, and you met with the stakeholders, they know their people. They know those who even need those items. They are the one that had during the COVID. I led a team. There's a place we got to. I know the man very well, and I told him, man, this thing is not meant for you. Till tomorrow, the man is angry. I went to a space few days ago. You
deprived him of what?
No, it's not meant for him. You cannot drive a Lexus Jeep that you want to come and carry beans. I said, no, it's not meant for you.
Having a car is different.
No, my brother, I know him. I know that was not meant for him. It's not meant for him. People, Nigerians are too greedy. That is the basic truth. We see how we are discussing now. In my streets, about 3 buildings in the standard building, since the standard one, they've not stopped. People are still spending money. Go to jail, people say spending
And
money.
you say such person too may not need palliative.
It's everybody that need it. Till tomorrow as we speak. So let us identify those who need it. For the time being, let the federal government cushion the effect of this person. If not, you begin to see people committing suicide. People cannot eat. You can't be saying money, what they are telling you, okay, let us get food for them to eat. We are saying we should push the money to agriculture, push it to infrastructure. Infrastructure, you push it to now. In another 2 years, we are not getting result.
Okay.
The agriculture, in another 2 years, we are not getting result. For the time being, let us cushion the effect. Then let the federal government come out with their
Now, let's bring
what they
it
needed
now
to do.
to Edo State, College Samadi. Some persons are saying we have Oshomo power plant, and the major problem of Edo Light currently is light. If we can push this, 5 billion might look very small, like you said, but it will go a long way if we channel it. If we channel it towards boosting power supply in the state. Then the other stuff like the grains and the fertilizer can be shared as palliative.
It will not bring food.
Ordinarily,
This is some of this submission of some persons.
ordinarily, that was the motive of the federal government stopping the scam subsidy. Yes, he said they cannot defend. My friend said they can't defend the word they have said over the time that subsidy was a scam. Because it was a scam, that's why it was stopped. When you say something,
That is his opinion.
I am coming.
That is
Yes,
his
I know.
opinion.
When you say something was a scam,
That
It's not
is
a
his
scam,
yes,
it's a
opinion.
reality.
it means
So we have
something.
to respect
Yes,
that.
it
It's not a
means
scam.
it means some persons were being overbearing with it. We are taking too much through it, using it as a front to siphon, pumping in so much. So for that reason, it was stopped, so that that money that was being pushed can be saved for capital projects. Capital projects are part of what you have just talked about, which usually must be planned out and voted for, and for
so
which
immediate.
something. But even while all that are going on, I can assure you this federal government you are saying, in the next few years, Nigerians will extremely smile. Because do you know why? Let me tell you. You cannot smile at all the faces at the same time.
Next few years.
You can't.
Estimation. Let's have an estimate. Now to when?
Is it the president? that
I,
will give
when
this?
I said
he's
the
telling us
next-
very soon.
the
He's
next
speaking on behalf of the presidency
few
then.
years, because one, if we want to build Aunchi Road to a standard, for example, you don't expect it to take 2 months. You don't expect it to take 3 months. It's going to be very holistic, and you should imagine the kind of road somebody like Asewaju will build. And talking about now, we now have a minister that is a minister of road, as it were. Umahi, which you cannot compare his kind of infrastructural IQ to any other person.
No, we'll be talking about the
The hell
ministers
no.
much
Yes,
later.
I'm trying to tell you
But let's look
that,
at matters arising.
by the grace of
That has
God,
been-
by the grace of
palliative.
Almighty God, very soon we'll be having a Dubai system of federal roads where all of us will smile when we
started
go through the
again.
road. Because but all this we take saving funds, having enough funds to expend on them. But however, government failed yesterday doesn't mean they will capitally fail today. The last palliative, referring it to Edo, for example, saying we should use the governments have been voting things or voting money on that project. So they will also tell you today that they have given Edo people enough energy, as it were, depending on who can type from the one that place is producing. However, you know, it's not, the commoners can't go near there. There are a set of people who can type from that route.
No, the light is everywhere. It's almost everywhere. You know,
Okay, I said there are a set of people who can never go near there.
You think so?
How can you want to pay 600 or 500,000 NEPA bill every month? You can't do that. So it's meant for a class. And those class at the time were so enjoying it before it collapsed. I'm sure it will rise again. But probably the engineers are working on it. But however, because the last palliative capitally failed, does not mean it will fail again.
Okay.
And Edo State government now may apply a lot of wisdom. Have you learned from the past? Let me also tell you, do you know we have overzealous staffs? You can also be sure that the government was not even aware that some of those palliatives were not even distributed the way it was sent. That they kept those things in the warehouse, haven't distributed some, claiming to the government that they
how are you sure
distributed
some
it.
of these overzealous staff will not resurface
That is what I'm not saying
in
now.
this other process?
That
Like I
is
said, I participated in
that
it.
is where
So
they
I
will
can
now,
give you information.
that is where the governor now will now add more measure in order for his name not to be re-indicted. Because as it were, when that one happened before, the person you will point to will be the governor. Oh, the governor stole our palliative. Not knowing that that wasn't the instruction of the governor.
Okay.
Go and distribute. Okay. They will have distributed 10 bags. I want
to.
Heed the other one. Say later, they will gradually be carrying
to Fares, but Harrison is itching to say something.
Sorry, why I want to come in here. You see, that palliative was distributed. It was made in 2 phases. Now, what was left was about 10% of it. And the reason that one was kept there for emergency. Like when we have flood disaster around Gapiona area, they took from those things to cushion that to give to them. So when that NSAS issue came, that was what those people went there. Those who went to Tetramre went to loot people's personal business because that warehouse is meant for everybody. It was not government to. In medical store road, you saw they carrying farm. You saw they carrying notices are meant for health centers. So those states was distributed.
So the other stuff those guys were now taking back there.
That 10% you were saying there is meant for emergency. When there is disaster, they quickly take a leg one and give to them. So I just want to clear that one. It was distributed.
Okay. Fares, you agree with what he's saying?
Yes, to a large extent. Let me respond to the issue of the Osimo power that my brother raised an issue of. You know, Edo State today is, give it to the government of Edo State. It's one of the states in Nigeria that have the most functional IPP, independent power arrangements. You know, I'm not saying this, no government is perfect, but I'm not saying
to massage the ego of the sitting governor.
But if you look at what the state government have done with power in Edo, in terms of coming in and boosting power supply in the state, in terms of government offices, schools, hospitals, and even private homes and private businesses, you see that power has improved. Most times I go to the secretariat and I see that they've gone from a place where every office used to connect generators out from their offices to a place that runs efficiently on power. John Odiga Oyegu Center, so many other places that are now independent of the normal grid. And it's working very well. And the state is even generating more power that they can even that they can even use now.
But it's not evenly distributed because there are places that are suffering serious.
Yes, the state government cannot be the state government cannot be in charge of distributing power to every home.
Okay.
Can't be in charge of that. No state in Nigeria is completely in charge of distributing power to every home. So, but that's just to respond to that this thing. In terms of power distribution, and that's what you can see when I say government needs to invest in things that are sustainable. Because at the end of the day, the Osimo power thing, not only has it generated hundreds of thousands of jobs from the people who manage these things, engineers, or to the system generally, it has created a new workforce. This is what the government can also do with road construction. When the country is down, when the country is struggling economically, what do? You can even borrow money, not borrow money to pay subsidy, not borrow money to buy rice. Like I said before, giving a man or a family a bag of rice, I've never removed any family from poverty. No family in this world, no country has adopted that strategy. Say, okay, I give one family a bag of rice a month, it will remove them from poverty. No. What you need to do is provide jobs for the people in that house. Look at the young men. We have over 60 million young Nigerians doing nothing. We have a very young population in Nigeria that can transform them into training them, into ICT, into agriculture, into security. We've not been able to ginger our people to provide the kind of workforce to lift our economy out of poverty. We've not been able to do that.
We'll get back to you, Harrison. They have actually said over time that subsidies is scam. There are people who are benefiting from this. These persons, can't the government bring them to book?
I think it's a big question. Who are these people?
If the government is saying there are persons that are benefiting from it means that they have spotted them. Can't them bring them to book?
What would have expected by now? We should be seeing the list of these persons. Are they not the same people?
Are they ghosts?
They know them. It's their friend. It's some of those persons who fought very hard to bring them back, to bring them to power. Look at their ministerial list. It's compensation for those who work for them. So what we are saying now is that there is no genuinity from the side of the government for these few months. What would have expected that by now you are bringing in technocrats, people who understand the system, people who are willing to do so. You talked about a minister of road. Minister of from where? We know their states.
From a boy.
So I think that we should leave this politics aside.
Okay.
We should talk as a Nigerian. For me, whether you are PDP, you are APC, you are Labour, we all go to the same market. Market is market. The price is the price. Nigerians are suffering. Let this government sit down in distributing this palliative, go ahead and put plans in place to fix our roads. And those states, as we speak now, within all the neighboring states, we can't go anywhere. Look as if we are caged within this place. And every year, this same federal government budget money, release money to fix this road. My brother is talking that, see, in the last 8 years, it was only APC that was in government. The president of this country is an APC man, is an APC government. It's supposed to be one transition. They're supposed to work together. Continuation. If for the past 8 years, nothing was done, and you are coming again and you bring in the same set of persons, you want to do the same thing the same way and expect a different result, the answer is capital no. It's a pity we live in precarious political environment. We think that we do things and we get away with it.
Okay.
I am appealing to Nigerians to be a bit patient. Why I'm insisting that let this lead to get to the common people. You cannot use the common man to pay for the sin of the elites. Okay. So this money, let it come, let it be distributed for the 10B. Let us cushion the effect on Nigerians and people who are suffering. Like I said, everybody will not benefit from this fund. I will not be expecting to benefit.
Amadi too will not benefit from it.
No, that's the truth, because I have people walking the street of Benin today. They cannot eat. I asked my wife one day, I said, if we now we are complaining, we cannot eat. What about the people that don't have job, the husband and wife that don't have job? Sir, for the federal government to be using political party to distribute palliative is satanic.
Okay.
Are you not saying?
Who should they use now?
They should use the civil servant, politicians to supervise. It should get to the people, because you bring in politicians, they will give it to the party members.
Okay, Amadi, quickly, do you agree with that? He's saying politicians, take your hands off the palliative, let civil servants control it.
And the people,
politicians is just a word, it's just a name. Oga, we have had people who have had to be INEC official, who were said to be party card-carrying members of party. I'm using that.
We've seen INEC officials
those who have efficiency and have capacity have. Those who don't have, don't have. Even if you like, you give somebody 2 billion to share to only 10 people, he still may not be able to share it well. You can give somebody 100 naira to share to 100 people, he will distribute it well, depending on the mindset and what the person thinks. And when my brother talked about federal road, not federal road, thank God he has been in government for years. He also was in the same APC for years. So it's not about party. It's about that person you have assigned to administer.
Okay.
Being a party man does not mean I have a jurisprudence over decisions of government.
Okay.
I'm just a party man.
You are speaking like a de facto minister now.
If you allow. But however, DPO, what I'm trying to say in all share is that not until you try people, you don't know them.
Okay.
Sometimes when you give people opportunity to serve, don't assume that DPO is the manager of this conference now. We are all his team working with him, that we have direct input. We can make input and DPO will say no. And he would do his final. But people out there will assume that we are together.
So it all rise and fall on those authorities.
On those that you have assigned to administer.
Okay.
If that is why you see party pressure, sometimes party pressurizes those that have been assigned. Please administer well so we can have an identity. Because if you administer well as our representative, as it were, then the party have a uniform that it can boldly wear.
Okay.
Now, at the time people were crying, oh, Buhari did that, or Jonathan did that, he gave that party a uniform he needed not to wear. And some of the party members were disgruntled. The same way when he also entered Buhari's government. Many persons felt, oh, Buhari was not administering. Now, Asiwaju had come. That is why even the party faithful will not wish or pray he fails. The party faithfuls are ready to starve, but you go and deliver, so we can be happy thereof.
Okay, let's just hope the party faithfuls don't benefit from anything, so that other people.
I have not said they will not benefit.
But however, recently a chieftain of the APC was complaining and saying that Tinubu actually took over poor government from the previous government. APC blaming APC in a way. How do we strike a balance?
Now, let me start by saying that, before President Tinubu came in, all we saw on social media and everywhere was, oh, Tinubu built Lagos, oh, Tinubu built Lagos, Tinubu built Lagos, Tinubu built Lagos. It was like Lagos was built between 1999 and 2007 when Tinubu came. I'm sure many of those people, maybe they haven't been to Lagos before 1999, so you can't really fault them. But when it got to time to build Nigeria now, cement finished. The same cement used in building, they say used in building Lagos. It's time to build Nigeria. There's no more cement. There's no more sand to build.
I don't understand what you mean by cement. Fares is the one there now. No, this objection is not really necessary.
It's time to build Nigeria.
We're talking about the cement and sand.
Yes,
you are speaking in parable.
It's time to build Nigeria, and there's no more cement. There's no more sand. Now we've seen APC Chieftains complaining about the president. Why are they complaining? It's because they're seeing the direction of the government. The government is directionless. Completely directionless. Look at the caliber of people the president has assembled. You have no hope. Seeing this kind of people. Let me tell you something.
Who is not capable?
My brother mentioned something just now about getting the best hands. Let me take you back to 1999 when Obasanjo was president. He went around shopping for the best. The Frank Weke Juniors, the likes of Konjo-Iweala, the likes of Charles Soludo and the rest of them were brought in. They didn't participate in campaigns. They were not here
at all.
They were not here.
They are not politicians.
They didn't campaign. They're not politicians. They're not in the process.
And they gave in their best shot.
They brought them in solely to come and revive the economy. And what does Konjo-Iweala do? The first thing she came and she repaid our debt. She repaid and made sure that we're a country that we're debt-free. She had so many achievements. She wasn't here to come and campaign or come and work for the government before they not put you in government. So we expected that the Nigerians are doing well everywhere in the world. What the president would have done is sit down, have a mix of technocrats, have a mix of those who have the technical know-how to revive the economy. The economy is struggling. Nigerians are poor. Nigerians are hungry. People are suffering. If we have anything that will trigger what we saw in 2020, because a hungry man is an angry man. You cannot expect so many people who are hungry today to keep quiet. While we had in 2020 we had the EndSARS issue. It was triggered it just by a little issues. Triggered it. But you could see that because of
but it has to do with police brutality.
No, it's not. Let me give me 1 minute to
quickly. You have to wrap up now. Let's get to Harrison.
You see what happened in that 2020 is that there was COVID. People were asked to lock up their shops and everything, so people sat at home. They were hungry. Many of them went into this pain, and then the issue of police brutality happened, and it served as a trigger. Now we are having a situation whereby Nigerians are hungry again. People are hungry.
So people are losing their jobs.
So yeah, people are losing their jobs. The economy is not going well. People are hungry. The money they have, they can't even transport. Let me give you a typical example. What it costs you to go from Isi or here, from Oluku here to First Circular, 800 naira. Is what it would cost you before to go from Benin to Ekma. Just a few years ago. I'm not talking about 10 years ago. I'm talking about 2-3 years ago. So that's to tell you that people are losing money. What the value of your dollar today? The value of how much is a dollar today? Nigerians are suffering. The naira has no value, and this is the same government who came in when dollar was 150 naira on that Jonathan. They were crying foul.
Harrison, do you think the crop of ministers they are going to be sworn into do you think they have the capacity? Let's be honest, to help this president succeed in his government.
My brother, let's be honest to ourselves. We know these people. We know the antecedents. They have been part of government. So when they were there, what is the result? So like I said, when you begin to do the same thing the same way, and you are expecting a different result, it did not work. Even up to yesterday night, they are busy, they were pressure from a different angle. How can you give my person a ministry that is not juicy? They quickly start changing it. That there is no sincerity. You cannot give somebody a portfolio in less than 1 week. You are trying to, because pressure is coming from somewhere. How can you give a person this place when nothing is happening? These people are the same persons. We should be prayerful that this government, this present APC government, will be able to alleviate the suffering of Nigerians. If not, in the next 1 year, Nigerians can no longer take patience anymore. Because as we speak today, it's not even in the Buhari government, things were not like this. The Buhari government that the present APC government is even blaming. If subsidizing fuel...
But this government just started. Are you now saying the 8 years of Buhari, it's far better than this one? Is that what you're trying to say?
How much are we buying fuel?
Is that what you're trying to say?
No, it's everything now. Excuse me, sir. I know where I'm going to. Before I left government, if that is the only thing federal government subsidized for the common Nigeria
and sustained,
I think there's were put plans in place before Mr. President saying for subsidy is gone. He said it casually. There was no plan in place. You were talking about that it's the common persons that inflated the price. Are you aware that the federal government NPC were the first to increase their price? If NPC increase their price, we don't blame a private marketer. It's not government that control the NPC. So why are we deceiving ourselves? We should be prayerful that God will touch their heart so that they will do the right thing. It's not that they cannot perform, but these people are self-centered. And some people celebrating that we can be giving 10 tenor that is going to turn Abuja to this. I work for myself. Is this the country we find ourselves? So you are rich people who work for you. You compensate them with the position, not minding whether they have anything to even put in.
Okay.
These are people who are meek. These people who have made their people to make
not based on merit.
No merit at all.
Calm down.
So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Now you are saying
Nigerians are angry.
We're angry. It's unfortunate.
we have to come to policy. We have. Thank you, Harrison.
You have the floor. But let's not talk party. Let's talk Nigerians.
Let's speak, please, gentlemen. Let's speak to the issues on ground. Collins Amadi, you were telling us recently that David Imai is an expert. He has done well in his state. You try to convince us on this platform that the people we have on ground, the ministers, will do capacity, well. But some persons are saying that the president wasn't prepared. He just came on board and met a position he wasn't prepared for. That's the reason why the country is experiencing serious financial downturn.
I think Nigerians should understand, and our politicians who are selling out wrong information should have a rethink.
Can you leave politicians out of this? Leave oppositions
I am coming. Is a media propaganda that is going on by many. I'm coming now. You are now. How can you say someone who campaigned, ran, and shown you the possible development is going to bring in is not prepared? And how do you know if his people is not prepared? With all that he has been doing, with all the policies that you see him putting in place, and with some expertise that he has been bringing in different ways they can do reform, whether on tax reform, economic reform, and what have you, he's still not prepared. And I'll also me tell you, you cannot expect there are constitutional provision to action of government. The president or a governor cannot solely approve above a certain amount on any project. You must have your executive council to which you make approval. Now it is when the ministers sit down, they begin to discuss and approve. Oh, we want to do this. At the level of fact, they will approve. Let us do 20 roads within this period. Or let us quickly prepare. And also you must know that they must work with a budget. Now you have a budget that is elapsing. We say government is continuity. But sometimes if there is no funds enough to consolidate on that budget, do you expect the government to continue? Things are being planned. You don't wake up into things. Now, my friends also talked about some persons, people, the ministerial designates, or however, are not all politicians. I bet you, and I say capital no, even this government is operating on a unity government, which implies Labour Party members are there, PDP members are there, some persons who are not in any way near politics over 15
what's their name?
Are there. You can do a whole call and you tell me how much.
And you call it a unity government?
Of course it is. I'm coming, sir. That is where I'm coming.
Okay.
And now, are you now also going to tell me those who stick themselves for the continuity or for this government to come on board are no more relevant? Then they should be jettisoned. I'm coming, sir. Just because they will labor for others to come and administer. Sometimes they may administer woefully, and at the end you take the blames to them and say, oh, now say.
So to an extent, you are saying those that are on the ministerial list, they were actually compensated.
Of course.
That's what you are saying.
It is
That's
politics.
what you just said.
Some persons must be compensated. It is politics.
So must it be based on compensation?
That is why I have told you it's cut across. This new cabinet you are saying, it cut across. Are you not telling me I was moving from place to place, one village to one village, and I also went to school? I own master's degree, for example. So at my own field, I have capacity to deliver. And I'm also an entrepreneur. Are you not telling me because I'm a politician, I cannot be assigned to go and work?
So does it justify their appointment?
Of course it should justify, because I have worked, I also have an experience, and I'm also well ready to that effect. I should serve in the government.
Now,
you see,
he's trying to make us
So
understand.
I should work for somebody to come and take
We will
over.
come back to you. He's trying to make us understand now that some of those guys we have as ministers now are actually compensated.
Yes, you see, that's what I talked about before. You know, when I said the government was directionless, that's what it means. Because, you know, when you see the condition of your country, you try to get the best hands based on merits. If you're going to get somebody who is going to be in charge of the coordinating the economy, you have to look for the best brains around. The best brains around. You have to just forget about who worked for you in your campaigns, or who sponsored your election and all of that. You have to forget all of that first. And say, okay, let's fix the economy.
Who is
let's
there
sit
now?
down, please.
Amadi, please, you just have to hold it there.
You have to look at it and say, okay, this is the economy. This is the condition of our country. Let's fix it. There are other ways to compensate politicians and all of that. There are other ways, so many other ways. Ministerial positions are strategic positions. Somebody who will be in charge of a particular ministry, who will be in charge of overseeing the development of what that ministry does and how it relates to the economy of the country. Look at Joe Biden's government. Look at the caliber of people he brought in. Many of them are not politicians. Look at the young people he brought in. Many of them, they don't even go for campaigns. They were not with him. And let me give you another example. You see, one problem we have is that those, particularly those who run for president in this country, they are not on ground. They don't see the reality on ground. Let me give you a typical example. There was an American president then who went around the country. During his campaign, he went on road by road. And when he saw the condition of the road system in America, when he became president, the first thing he did was to re-engineer the whole road system in Nigeria, in America. Re-engineer the whole road system in America. And built massive road infrastructure. That was what led to the expansion of the American economy. Infrastructure. They built so much infrastructure. Now, you see a president here contesting elections, you are flying from Zamfara to Edo, flying from Lagos to Ibadan. That is less than 100 kilometers. You are flying from Ondo to Edo. You are flying from, you are going from Edo to, you are going from between Edo to Auchi. You're going to Auchi, you are taking helicopter from Benin to Ekpoma. You are taking helicopter from Ekpoma to Uromi. You are not seeing what the average Nigerians are going through. The moment you sit down in a car and say, let this car take me from Benin to Ekpoma, and you spend 4 hours in a journey that you would have spent 45 minutes, when you become president, nobody will tell you.
You feel what the people
Nobody
are
will tell you to vote money out for the repair and the reconstruction of those roads. Because you will have felt the pains that the people are feeling. Now look at what I was just looking at, what was scrolling just now. People who were governors before, who are now ministers designates, they are still collecting huge sums of money as pension.
I was actually going there. Serap has told the president to stop them.
They are still collecting
these
billions. Billions. Now look at, the government is saying, oh, we want to reach out to the poorest of the poor. There's no money, there's no money. The president is running 11 private jets in the presidential fleet. Go to many of the states, all the governors, they have private jets. You want to cut your coat, but you're not cutting it according to your size. If you say that we want to make government more accessible to people, you want to make life easy for Nigerians, let the government start by reducing the huge cost of governance in Nigeria.
Okay.
We are spending almost 70% of budget, so some states are spending almost 70% of their budget on government officials. Let them start by reducing it so that those money can go into infrastructure.
Okay. We need to start wrapping up now. Do you think cutting cost of governance will help us out of this, Harrison?
Yes, yeah. You can take example from our state governor. You can see his convoy. The vehicle that move with the governor is less than 10, 7. He doesn't need it. So let us learn to do things right. Like my brother is saying, you say unity government. Unity government from where? You are compensating a man that helped you to obtain result in the states. And you said it's unity government. You want to do unity government, you call the people, you call the party, bring somebody. Not picking somebody from your place.
You will not come on the national TV and be interjecting. He has the floor.
We are joking with the progress of this country.
Yes.
There's nothing unity there, my brother. They are compensating those who help them to get into power.
Okay.
Those who use their power, their strength to obtain result in their state, so that they get to where they are going to. Those people they are compensating. There's nothing unity there. I want to advise you. I want to say this very clearly. Can you imagine? You are making a lawyer a minister of aviation. Are you telling me that as part of those persons in APC, there's no other person in that party? I am not saying it's wrong for you to bring in your party members. Bring in people who are competent, people who are ready, are members of your party.
So are you saying Festus Kayamo will not do anything?
I'm coming, sir. He has already experience there. I'm coming, sir. You are bringing in former governors, former minister, former senator, no other person in that party again. Many people say, what
does that mean? Interpret.
When one man, we have only one rich man in the community, everybody we are still poor.
Now,
because you can't bring in a governor who has been gone for 8 years.
We are stopping
now. Be a minister.
Now, Serap is telling the president that all the former governors in his administration, they should be ordered to return whatever they are earning from their various states back to the nation's treasury.
Yes,
this is the last take we are taking. This is the last.
Wonderful.
Take.
My brother, I appreciate
No. You don't have to. No. You are not reacting to what he has said.
No. You can't be cutting me off all the time.
Nobody is cutting you, College Amadi.
I have the privilege to respond. I have the privilege to respond.
College Amadi, respond to the question.
I am responding, but I have the privilege to respond. Now he talked about bringing those who have served before. And if you have served before, you have capacity. Is it a crime to bring you back? You were a former councillor before. You were a former councillor before. Now you are a councillorship candidate again now.
Elective position.
These are some of the... Harrison,
it's the same thing. He's working in government.
These are some of the issues I have with you.
You can't indict others. You can't indict others when you are wearing the same shoes.
No. We are done with this conversation. We are done with this conversation. Thank you so much. This is how far we can go. We'll take a short break now. I will return after this time out.